Hey there. Welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Really glad you're investing some of your time with me today. I did a lot of prep for the show, so I hope I'm making it worth your while. We are 33 days until election 2024. It's been 74 days. Kamala Harris has been the assumed nominee. Still no formal news conference, no long form answering of questions. I think she's going to ride out that clock and no one's going to stop her from doing it. Also, the James Show will be live from the State Fair of Texas tomorrow. That's pretty cool. All right, so come on out. We can go to the most Texan place on earth. You can go be gnawing on a turkey leg, and you can sit in front of the table, and you can listen to the James Show live and do a bunch of people watching. It'll be a good time. So come join me. And I'm also going to be there not just tomorrow, but 2 Fridays from now, October 18th. So come see the James Show live at the State Fair of Texas tomorrow. If you want to call in, 800-288-9227. My next guest is Josette Solons from Integrative Care. And there's a concern about school shootings that didn't exist when you and I were kids. Now we have school shooting drills, and my kids have to hear about it. And I don't know if the threat here really rises to the occasion. Just how big of a threat are school shootings in Texas, Josette?
Oh, my gosh. Not only in Texas, Garrett, but across the nation.
I'm sorry. I'm James. Garrett's the producer who called you and put you on the phone. Just to clear that up.
Well,
That's all right.
I'm so happy I'm here with you, James.
Happens all the time. All right, go ahead, Josette.
Okay, no worries at all. You know, the New York Times stated that over 700 students have been arrested in 45 states. And this is all for false threats regarding, shootings or possible shootings. And you're 100% correct, James. I can't even imagine what our parents the parents today and the kids have to go through, with all of this.
Well, you're talking to one. I'm a parent, and I have 4 kids who are in school. 3 are in grade school, one's in his first year of high school. I feel like the threat's overblown, and it's not that I'm just so pro-gun I'm blinded. It's when I look at the statistics, we have more Americans who are struck by lightning every year than shot in a school shooting.
Well, that is 100% true, but let's just talk about this for a moment, because you did have me come on, and we are part of a mental health clinic, and so even though something is not happening, the children are really going to these schools. It's affecting them. Vicarious trauma is a real thing. And a Florida study said that 80% of all threats are actual hoaxes, but 5% of them are serious and include murder, stabbing, shooting. So, that 5% really outweighs, the 80% that aren't. And I don't know where the other percentage there, the other
the gray area 15%. Well, I am and that's part of my concern though is the mental health and the amount of anxiety we're giving our kids for having to do active shooter drills. I think that's given them more anxiety than the specter of the shootings themselves.
It is. I mean, because and this is how vicarious trauma happens. You keep seeing an event, or you see an event over and over and over, and then after a while it becomes real. And look what's happening in Dallas and in Fort Worth. I mean, now, there's patrol at all of the schools, and, it was a hoax, but obviously, I did see about the shooting, after that football game, which is horrendous. I think that all of this hype over shooting and, kids running to see a fight or kids running on their social media, to see, what's going on, is also fueling, these calls and fueling the anxiety and the depression and the vicarious trauma. So, but obviously authorities have stepped in, and it is not okay to even, post that there's a problem. You don't want anything, you definitely do not want to be part of anything that could connect you with, enticing or supporting someone's threat. So,
right. I have I have a suspicion, and I don't have a whole lot of data to back it up, so please slap me down if I sound silly. But I liken this to when my kids started going to school, to middle school. And in the middle school, from elementary to middle, there was posters all over the middle school that talk about how you should never vape and how, 83% of high school kids don't vape. And my kids are like, what's vaping? Are we supposed to be vaping? And it's like, oh my God, the anti-vaping posters are training my kids to vape. And so I almost feel like having all these school shooter drills. If you're a psychopath little kiddo who hates the world and you just want to light a match and watch it burn, you're putting ideas into their heads over and over and over and over with these drills.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from on that for sure. But the whole thing of it is there are studies that if we go ahead and educate on different situations, that it does help our kids not do it. Unfortunately, the advertisement, of vapes, all the cute little flavors and images that remind people of cotton candy and, some of their favorite foods, that's what's enticing our children to go ahead and vape. So I think public announcements and helping, share that knowledge is important. But what's also important, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to be on this call with you today, is just to really talk to the parents and say, hey, you know what, this is really getting out of hand with over 700 students being arrested for doing these different types of threats. Parents may be liable in the future, for others' behavioral health crisis. Just look what has had to happen. So many parents, when we had to close down the schools for a hoax, and believe me, I'd rather, having a kid myself, be safe than sorry. But all of that, all that unnecessary cost that we have to go through and trying to find babysitters and miss work, and, additional stress, it's just, it's adding up. And parents definitely want to make sure that their kids are not using social media or posting or, on these threats, because the complications are going to really increase for someone that is doing that. Now these if you're arrested, if your child is arrested, those charges may last and stay with them their entire life. And so, hopefully parents will really, get that point across, to the kids so we can stop, with the hoax posting. And hopefully by talking with their kids, James, that they can find out, wow, my kid's actually really angry. And you know what? This is an issue for my child. And, my child does need to have treatment because, running a behavioral health clinics, actually several of them, the parents don't always know. Kids are kind of secretive sometimes, or parents don't know what the warning signs are. And so, same for suicide. Everyone's like, I can't even believe that happened. There are some cases that it's very obvious that your child has, an issue and is going to be reactive, or, they're suffering from a behavioral health problem. But a lot of times, James, it's not just in everyone's face. And that's why, the authorities are taking this 100% real. Everybody is. But I'm from Texas, too, so I hear you, I understand that it's frustrating. And what I mean by that is a lot of people in Texas have guns and, probably don't see it as much of a threat. But it is, because that 5%, they really need help.
All right, Josette Sullins, you get a round of applause for the Texas tip there. Thank you very much for being on the James Show. I appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you so much, James.
And I want to ask you, because, Josette was making some good points there, about the drills and the concern and the safety of our kiddos while they're at school. Do you think kids are getting unnecessary anxiety from school shooter drills? Having a constant reminder that, you're not safe here. You're constantly under threat. You could die. Someone could walk in here and start shooting at any second. I think that is wildly unnecessary and causing anxiety for kids, hurting more than it helps. If you had kids in schools, they do school shooter drills. I think that's the most ridiculous thing. It just ticks me off. It was something they did a lot when I lived in New Orleans for a while. I remember when I was growing up here in Texas, we didn't have any school shooter drills ever. You realize we didn't have school shooter drills before schools were a gun-free zone. So when it was still legal to have guns on school campuses, we still didn't have school shooter drills. Now we have to have them after we make schools a gun-free zone. Well, I thought it was a gun-free zone. Why do we need to work and practice on school shooter drills? You made it a gun-free zone. That makes it impossible for guns to come here, right? Right? Oh, no, it's just a sign. Doesn't stop a damn thing. So I think these school shooter drills are causing more anxiety. And for no real reason. I mean, we have thousands of kids that die from drowning over the course of school years. Do they have swim lessons? I mean, for something that might actually help your kids survive. Do they do that? No. School shooter drills. You realize more Americans are struck by lightning every year than shot in a school shooting. You understand that, right? Do we make them? Do we have lightning drills? Do we have any special work for those? 800-288-9227. Lindsay in Dallas, you're next up on the James Show. What do you think about these school shooter drills?
I think the kids don't take them seriously, and I taught middle school for 13 years, and they think that they're going to fight the shooter, and they will not take the drills seriously at all.
Oh, that kind of makes me feel better. I'm glad they're not taking it serious. I don't want them all scared in the corner thinking, oh my goodness, there's going to be a life or death situation at any moment of just going from social studies to math.
No, they definitely do not.
Do you think they're necessary as a former middle school teacher?
I'm not sure that they're necessary everywhere. I know that the district that I taught in up until last year had a shooter at their high school campus, and they had a valid threat at one of the middle schools, but it was not the middle school I worked at.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your 2 cents. Thanks for calling in, Lindsay.
Thanks.
I'm skeptical. I'm super skeptical. I think this feels like the grooming. This feels like just part of the same old sentiment of the guns are scary crowd. They're training your kids to think guns are scary. First, they made guns so scary, they had to put up signs all over campus saying there's no guns allowed here. Why? Because guns are scary. Guns make things not safe. And kids aren't getting the message. And so how do you reinforce it? How do you give them constant reminders that guns are scary and carrying guns is scary and shootings are right around the corner and you need to be so worried about it, we have to have a pre-drilled plan of attack or plan of defense. So guns are so scary. Why don't, if the gunman shows up here, how about this? Why don't you shoot back? Oh no, guns only work in the hands of bad guys? No. You're training the kids to be scared of guns. And to think that gunmen are bad things and guns are scary and gun violence is a real problem. Gun violence is not a real problem in America. And it's about 70% of the counties in America every year, they have 0 or 1 murders. No. Shootings are a very rare thing that only happen in a small concentration of almost entirely hyper blue neighborhoods. And it's not something that's evenly spread across the country that everyone has to worry about. And it's insane to pretend like it's so big of a deal we have to have school shooting drills. Oh, man. Welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Listen, I'm a Garth Brooks fan. I know what his politics are. I know his politics are loony, but that's most of the people we listen to, most of the songs we like. The people behind them, their politics are not real reliable. And Garth Brooks is one of them. He's one of the wokey wokes. He can put on a cowboy hat and sing about being a regular guy, but he ain't. They not like us. To quote Kendrick Lamar on WBAP. These accusations are bad, though. It dropped today. Someone filed a lawsuit in California. I don't know her name, but TMZ reported on it. CNN reported on it, and it seems most of the reporting. Well, Page 6 reported on it, too. All the other reports I've seen on it are just other people quoting CNN and TMZ. So I went to the original ones. And then you can go even, because the court record's public, or part of it's public. You don't get to know her name, but you can go read it yourself. This lady in question had been working with Trisha Yearwood since 1999. And she switched over to Garth in 2017. Now she does hair and makeup and just gets you all ready to go out on stage and look pretty. I don't know why she switched from Trisha to Garth. Don't know. Don't care. But according to the paperwork that was filed this morning, he's not a very nice guy to work for. He says a lot of improper things. There's a lot of unwanted nudity. There's some other really specific accusations about different things that happen on different occasions. And look, after you read this, you're going to have some of the questions in your head that you're not comfortable with, and it doesn't make you sound like a nice person to ask them. And I'm not, victim blaming or anything, but it's another one of these situations where it comes up where, well, if he behaved badly on this day, and then again later, and then months later, and then eventually it worked up to where he fully accusedly copulated with you. I know I have to be nice because kids are in the car, but you know what I'm saying. Well, if it gradually led up to that, did you ever try and stop him anywhere in between? Why did you not quit? Why did you keep going back? I know what it's like to have a job that you need. I know what it's like to be scared to lose your job because how are you going to put food on the table? I've got 4 kids. I know. I've lost my job with 4 kids a couple times, or probably like 4 or 5 times. But that sounds like victim blaming, doesn't it? That sounds like the same questions you have where, okay, if all this happened in, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, why now? Why are you, here it is 4, maybe 5 years later, why are you filing this now? I don't have answers to that. I don't. But the things that should concern you in this report is, number one, the specificity of the claims. This is why you were skeptical of Christine Blasey Ford's accusations against Brett Kavanaugh when he was trying to be on the Supreme Court, is she didn't have these details. She didn't have the when, the where. She named 4 witnesses, supposedly, who were at the same party. All of them denied the story, remembering anything about that story, but she didn't have a time and she didn't have a place. Same thing with the E. Jean Carroll accusations against Trump. Didn't have a time, didn't have a place. So I think it happened in like the summer and it was in the fitting room of a department store. Well, which one? What time? What year? What month? What location? But see, if you're giving false claims, you will withhold that information because you don't want the person to be able to exonerate themselves. You don't want to be able to be proven wrong. If Christine Blasey Ford or E. Jean Carroll had given a place and a time, then the people they accused could come up with proof. See, here's a receipt. I was at the Applebee's in a different town at that time. This could not be a true story. Man, she's got all those details. This isn't something you can easily blow off. The only thing, like, even if you try and take Garth Brooks' side, I don't know, maybe people are just freaky when you're that rich and famous and in Hollywood. I mean, you heard about the Diddy parties. You know about Harvey Weinstein. You know about all kinds of other little, stuff that we would consider decadent or degrading. That's just normal for some of these people in showbiz. Maybe they all sleep at their hairdressers. And I'm not saying maybe she was into it, but if she just kind of puts up with it because, hey, it's Garth and he overpays and I need this job. And maybe she likes the glitz and the glamour of being able to go to the big parties, going to the Grammy after parties, going to so-and-so's house, having her come over for the birthday and then maybe sing in front of the kids, or it makes her a cool person in front of her friends, or whatever the excuse is why she was putting up with it. I mean, was she maybe not an enthusiastic participant, but a willing participant? Because it sounded like it escalated over years and years and years. And again, I have no answers. I'm not a victim blamer here. But did Garth even know that she wasn't interested? Could he even tell? Because other than that, if not, then he really is a monster. And that's the problem we have here. From whatever's been filed this morning, someone's a monster. Someone's not going to get exonerated here. Either Garth Brooks is a monster or this lady is a monster. And I wouldn't be reporting it. I'd feel really bad sharing some of these details and attaching his name in the same sentence with some of these accusations, if not for the detail. So a hairstylist and makeup artist for Garth Brooks is now accusing of raping, battering. If you want to go read the details, fine. But you probably shouldn't put nasty stuff like this in your brain. Just don't. Some of you are gloating, though, because some of you remember what was going on. Remember the Dylan Mulvaney controversy? For those of you who don't, that's the trans woman, the dude, that had the massive plastic surgery to like shave his jawline and fix his nose and shave off like the brow above his eyes and stuff. He had like the facial reconstruction surgery, looked like a woman, and then a year later, Bud Light had like the cans in his or her honor with her face on it. And so a lot of people were pulling Bud Light. Kid Rock shot Bud Light cans, and I think it pulled it from his Nashville bar. And someone asked Garth Brooks if he was going to pull Bud Light from his bar. I think he has a bar in Nashville or Tulsa. I don't even know. But he's like, no, we're all about diversity and inclusion. You remember that?
An interview with Melinda Newman from Billboard. And from that came quite a little bit of a stir. Let's address two things on it. One is diversity, inclusiveness. That's me. Everybody's got their opinions. But inclusiveness is always going to be me. I think diversity is the answer to the problems that are here and the answer to the problems that are coming. So I love diversity, all included. So all of them. If you want to come to Friends in Low Places, come in. Come in with love. Come in with tolerance, patience. Come in with an open mind, and it's cool.
Yeah, and have a pack of Trojans and be ready, because diversity, that is such, and I'm clapping for that, because this is a mockery of the way people have embraced this language and misused this language. You're all about diversity and inclusion. No, you're not. If someone came into your bar wearing like the full Klan robes with the stupid pointy hood and, wearing their sheets or whatever, would you serve them a beer? Would you be all about diversity and inclusion? Oh, sure. You're all welcome to my bar. All you Klansmen. What someone came in with like a swastika armband? Yeah, all you Nazis, you're welcome at my bar. Oh, diversity is our strength. This is going to be our answer to all the problems we face now and all the answers in the futures. We got to work together with Klansmen and Nazis. No, you're not about diversity and inclusion. You just don't want to admit what you're really cool with the idea that men can have babies and gender fluidity, and you're willing to sacrifice the most basic precepts of truth for your political gain. That's what all that was about. And so a lot of people are kind of celebrating and dancing. Oh, look, another woke one bites the dust. I don't celebrate it. This is terrible. This is whether it's true or he's being falsely accused. This is just god awful. This is the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.